What's up, champs? Champs, It's Langston 2 Live back with another reaction, and we got some mind-blowing stuff. Not too long ago, we seen Mr. Beast and him going to Egypt and exploring some of the pyramids, going inside of the pyramids, looking at some of the tombs of Egypt. But on the Joe Rogan podcast, they spoke about new discoveries underneath structures of the Great Pyramids. All right, so let's check out what they got to say, because we've always thought about things, trapdoors, and discoveries inside of the pyramids, and we always thought about how did they build the pyramid, but why did we never think that they built underneath and beneath the pyramid? So I'm kind of interested in this topic, so let's check it out.
Rogan experience.
Talking of pyramids, dude, this new pyramid shit that's just come out.
Oh, this is insane. Yeah, I was going to send this to you as well, Jamie. I'll send you one of the most comprehensive breakdowns of it on X because it's quite stunning. So apparently, through the use of LiDAR, they have discovered that there are enormous structures underneath the Great Pyramid that go kilometers deep into the earth with coils. So
miles,
enormous
y'all.
Pillars, and then these
Longer than
coils.
miles.
They don't understand what it is because they're just looking at LiDAR images. But whatever this is a uniform structure. There's several pillars, and all of this is like very, very, very weird.
Yeah, it's 600 meters descending down those cylinders, and then there's more stuff below it, and then
Yeah.
there's
That's
additional
super
structures
far.
inside of it. Yeah, that was crazy.
It's really crazy. There's a guy, Jay Anderson.
So do y'all think that like they distracted us with, but they always said the pyramids were like radiation, like, solar panels to the sun. So what if the above structure of the pyramid was the what kept, the things running underneath the earth or whatnot, like what if that was like the solar panel?
And he did a breakdown of it. Maybe this would be good. We could play this. It makes a little more sense when someone's explaining it to you.
Well, yeah, I mean, we need somebody that's an expert here, not me and you.
Zawi Hawass, by the way, has said it's nonsense. So I don't know.
Already?
Yes. According to Graham Hancock. This is the wonderful thing about having Graham
I texted
Hancock's
Graham
test.
yesterday. I was like, yeah, what's going on with this?
Yeah. So click on that and go full screen, please.
How significant of a discovery this is.
He said go full screen.
I love the music.
He said go full screen.
And geometry, so you know it's real.
You got to appreciate the dramatic intro.
Project Unity.
There we go. And then
What is just
ain't no way y'all put them big ass cameras right in the freaking middle of the screen.
been
Oh my
announced
gosh.
in relation to the pyramids at the Giza Plateau, and the plateau itself is so incredible, so awe-inspiring and narrative shattering that I have been sitting here for the last hour trying to wrap my head around the implications of what we were just told. So this is pretty much breaking news because the new findings were announced on the 16th of March at a press conference held by the team who was studying the Great Pyramid of Giza with a non-invasive technology that was first developed by Filippo Bionde and Corrado Malanga, called synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography.
Fuck, that's a
This
mouthful.
was used to explore the internal
Chiropractic
structure
talk.
of the Great Pyramid of Giza. And this method leverages the analysis of micro movements typically generated by background seismic activity to achieve a high resolution full 3D tomographic imagery of the pyramid's interior and subsurface components. The recent findings from deploying this technology...
Slow down. I understand not a lot of y'all have graduated high school yet and everything. All right. But just listen. Some things you just build. One thing I'm going to teach you right here on this video right here is context clues. Okay. That's what we all need to use, because we don't know what the freaking these words mean right now. All right. But we listen and we absorb the information and we articulate it in the way that we believe that they're speaking about. Okay. That's what you call context clues. All right.
are nothing short of mind-blowing, because what's been discovered is that there are huge structures coming down from the base of the pyramid deep into the bedrock.
Oh, I was not
over
expecting the structures to look like
600
that.
meters deep, which then connects to structures that extend up to 2 kilometers below the surface of the ground.
Whoa, so is that what is holding the pyramids up? That's what holding the pyramids up. So that means that goes so far that it's in the ocean. Like, let's be completely honest. Like, how far is the core? Now we have to really ask ourselves, like, and we're gonna have to look and see how far the core is in the earth, because that sounds like a large ass distance that would be somewhat close to it, right?
2 kilometers. Massive internal structures connected to the base of the pyramid and extending deep, deep down. This is what we know so far.
What does your friend think about it?
Which friend?
The one that you said it's bullshit.
Oh, that's not my friend. That's Zawi Hawass.
Okay.
Zawi Hawass is the head of antiquities in Egypt. He's like the head guy that talks to the archaeologists and gives the official narrative. In the past, he's been extremely hostile to Graham Hancock, but Graham Hancock and him have now become friends.
Oh, yes. I do
And
know
they're
this guy.
Coordinating. Graham is a lovely guy. People that like are enemies with him just need to get to know him and hang out with him. He's a genuine, real human being who's trying to find the truth.
Okay. Wait, we need some more deep dive into that. That, like, they can't just edge us like that, right? I can't be edged like that. I have to feel like there should be somewhat another. We weren't supposed to see what is underneath the pyramids. Boom. What is this? 8. Let's check this one out.
Okay, major breaking news. They have just discovered something insane beneath the pyramids, and it literally just happened this week. I want you guys to look at this, because by using new radar technology from outer space, scientists have found massive hidden structures beneath the pyramids of Giza. And when I say massive, I mean colossal. You won't believe this, but they detected structures extending 600 meters deep into the bedrock. That's nearly 2,000 feet straight down. And if that wasn't crazy enough, these structures connect to even deeper formations that go 2 kilometers underground, 1.24 miles below the surface. But I hear what you're thinking. Joe, could this be some kind of underground energy grid?
Underground energy grid, or is that the underground world that they've always spoken about? And like I'm saying, the pyramids are the solar panel to operate this underground. I just want to see what they look like under there.
Well, beneath the pyramid of Khafre, they found 8 massive pillars, which researchers confirm are not natural.
Okay,
These
so
pillars
they're
are part
pillars.
of deliberate human
mind.
construction, suggesting that these formations have an advanced purpose. And the fact that these structures extend so deep into the earth is raising even more questions. Now,
Like, where's
what
the
might be even
actual
more
core at?
mind-blowing
Yeah.
is that the latest radar scans have uncovered what appears to be an underground city beneath this pyramid. Now, let's just pause here for a minute, because obviously this is just speculation, and like most of my videos, I'm just talking about this stuff for entertainment purposes until I reach the conclusion of my video, because when I get to that part, I'm mega sincere, as you all know. Okay, so what is going on here? What is going on in this pyramid situation? Well, they decided to use a new radar technology, and researchers identified 5 interconnected structures near the pyramid's base. Again, these extended 648 meters deep into the ground, and this discovery reveals vertical shafts and even a possible spiral staircase with 2 large chambers. Are you imagining this right now?
Well, what was the first thing that people did, right? Dig. We all watched holes, right? They digged. You keep digging until you can't dig no more. Just keep digging. Keep digging. And so once they digged so far, they was like, we can't dig any further. All right. Let's build a way where we don't have to dig down here no more. We can go down here as many times as we want. I'm just talking outside of my neck right now, but I'm just saying, I'm just thinking. I've digged so far, we don't have to dig down here no more. Let's build So now they build, so we don't go down. Have to go down. We don't have to dig to go down there anymore. All right. Wow, these are actually good stability. Like you know when people build houses, they put like the cement at the bottom, like a foundation. Oh no, I'm just talking shit.
Because these structures suggest the presence of a sophisticated subterranean network, possibly even linked to an ancient water system used in the pyramid's construction. So, could these be part of a worldwide energy network? Or perhaps even a remnant of an advanced civilization's technology? Okay, well let's just take a step back and think about the pyramid's age and its scale. The Great Pyramid of Giza was built 4,500 years ago. So just chew on that for a second. And just think how smart these guys must have been back then to build such an amazing thing. And if it was the Egyptians, like the common school of thought says it was, well that is a testament of how great they were at engineering, at how smart these Egyptians were. However, a little later on we are going to look at some other suggestions of who else might have possibly built the pyramids. But did you know it's originally believed to have been 481 feet tall, but now it only stands at 455 feet tall due to the loss of the outer casing stones. However, this is probably the most impressive fact, but the Great Pyramid was constructed using 2.3 million stone blocks, with each block weighing somewhere between 2.5 and 15 tons. Some of the largest blocks found in the King's chambers weigh up to 50 tons. I was so taken aback when I heard this, because the sheer weight and the sheer size of these blocks, coupled with the fact that the ancient Egyptians didn't have the modern tools and cranes and machinery like we have today, it just makes this really hard to believe that it was done just using manual labour and primitive tools. You see, the logistics behind moving such massive stones, it's a mystery, isn't it? A mystery even to this day.
And then what was the purpose of moving the stones? Like, who was just like, grab stones, build this building as high as you can, like out of stones? Like, what? Because we got to think the whole village wasn't living in these. It was only the royalty. So there was other ways to live, other ways for shelter and stuff like that. So what was the? I guess that's just using your slaves. I'm like to the most cruelest way. You don't think anyone lived in these pyramids? Nah. So you're saying, so you're thinking that the pyramids were just chapels. That's a possibility. Like the where basically where, you know, like the chapel where the priest stays. And then you would go in for prayer, you would go in for different like rituals and stuff like that. But why would they bury all of like the most royalty there? It was just for royalty. Yeah, they buried all the royalty there, so
now, listen to me. Here's something else that challenges our understanding of the pyramids.
I can see it being chapels, maybe if you're saying no one lives there.
No mummies whatsoever have been found in the Great Pyramid or any of the major pyramids. Historically, these massive structures have been thought to be royal tombs, but the fact that no mummies have ever been found here suggests that the pyramids might not have even been tombs in the first place. In fact, some researchers now propose that the pyramids could have served another purpose entirely. Maybe they could have been energy generators, they say, or places of spiritual or scientific significance.
Look, I just said that.
So no, they weren't merely burial chambers. In this video here, I suggested, like Ron Wyatt and Ben Carson, that they could have been used for storing grain, and maybe even Joseph from the Bible, under the inspiration of God's wisdom, helped design the pyramids. But between
why they make everybody white? I'm sorry. That shouldn't have came out like that. I'm just saying. Like, in history, it was black people, guys. Like, you don't have to make everybody, like, look one way. Like, come on. Can we at least get Joseph if y'all don't want to give us God?
Between you and me, I'm actually not so sure about this theory anymore, because it's very likely that the pyramids were built long before Joseph was even on Earth. So here's where things get really interesting. There's a theory that the pyramids were actually energy generators. You've heard of Nikola Tesla before? Well, he believed in the possibility of wireless power transmissions across the Earth. Could these underground pillars and the recently discovered structures be part of an ancient electromagnetic grid? Some even suggest they could be power plants. And these are actually coils that the researchers have found, which were once designed to generate and distribute wireless electricity across the Earth. So it is possible that the pyramids were part of an ancient worldwide energy system. I'm going to let you into a secret right now, but you've got to promise me you'll do something. If you do go ahead and Google the facts I'm going to share with you, you must come back to this video to hear my conclusion. Okay, now if you Google, I'll leave a link in the description, if you Google the Pyramids of Giza's coordinates, you'll get this number. Now why is that a big deal? Because if you also Google the speed of light, you will get this number. Is that just a coincidence? Or was the positioning of the pyramid tied to some cosmic scientific principles that we are only just starting to understand? Right, let's put another theory under the test. As you know, the Bible teaches that there wasn't just one Goliath who walked on the earth, but there were many. Could these newly discovered underground structures be proof that an advanced pre-Egyptian civilization was responsible for building the pyramids? Many believe these ancient builders were not just ordinary humans, but rather a clan of big guys, or a lost civilization that had access to technology that is far beyond what we could ever comprehend. Now, please, everyone look at me, because this next theory, I need you to know I am literally just sharing this with you for entertainment purposes. But some even suggest that the pyramid's alignment with Orion's belt, which is perfectly aligned, points to some kind of extraterrestrial involvement. They say perhaps the pyramids were constructed with space knowledge or assistance, and these hidden structures are somehow linked to their technology.
I always thought that the pyramids had to do with something with the aliens, space. I always thought that, and then I started being more enlightened to the different aspects of what possibility of that's why I first led with the possibility of it being some type of energy source. And then the more we talk about it, the more we watch these kind of things. Now I'm like, okay, you're right. Maybe no one lived in the pyramids, but maybe this was something for a spiritual, it was something for where maybe the royalty met to do their, spiritual takes or whatever like that. It was the chapel. So the more and more you learn, the more and more you kind of it opens up your mind to other possibilities. So I feel like, the more and more we learn about these pyramids, the more and more we're going to open up a life or a different way of thinking that was thought about before. I always said, when it comes to technology, I always say, how did people back then have better technology than we do now? And the reason why I think that they had better technology back then is because what? They always had flying saucers. They've always put in our mind about the Jetsons of flying stuff. They've, they say they went to Earth. Went to the moon. They say they went to the moon. But why can't we go back to the moon? Why haven't we been back to the moon? Stuff like that. I feel even though we think that we're evolving in technology, but what if we're just trying to gain back some of the technology that we once had because it was lost within everything else that was lost in, scripture, when it comes to telling the history of things, especially in America, because we all know we like covering up real truth here. It's not other countries. The biggest thing, if you have not went to Rome, went to Italy, seeing how they preserve their history, see how they preserve their sculptures, and when you go over there and you look at these statues, you look at these monuments, like you would look at the pyramids. Me being in Italy and Rome and stuff like that, and seeing how large these different like statues and stuff were, seeing how large these buildings were, seeing how Michelangelo made these churches that had ceilings made of gold, seeing the different architecture like on the doors of the church and stuff like that, how it popped out in 3D. I'm thinking in my mind, like, is this like how someone would think about the pyramids? Like, how did they do this? How were they capable of making something so large with just hands, without cranes, without certain like certain operating machinery, you know? When you think of that kind of stuff, you're like, it expands the minds. Like, what are we missing? Did we get lazy? You know, laziness probably came. That's why we got the crane. But then I go back to thinking, like, a lot of these people that made these things, especially, I'm just going to speak on what I've seen before. Italy and France, Rome, Europe. These people lived and died doing some of these projects. They didn't have the things that are in our life right now that have distracted us and made us more lazy. All right. So maybe the technology, even though we think that we have better technology now than we once did before, the technology has now hindered us to becoming more lazy, and we don't use it in the correct ways that once they did before. Ooh, I'm speaking some shit, but dead ass, y'all. You kind of think about it like that. These people that build these kind of things over there, they ain't have nothing else to do. They didn't have nothing else distracted them, and they believed in their culture and their heritage and their ancestors and everybody that came before them to continue to finish the projects that that their family members started. And so, yeah, we're just lazy. And that's what I got. That's where I go with that. But information about the pyramids. Can't wait to hear more once more information comes out.